Good morning. We're on the record. This is the time set for the probate short matters docket. The first matter is the matter of Gregory Martin. The case number is 24PR00777. I'm going to ask the parties to please put your appearances on the record. Starting with you, Ms. Salisbury.
Good morning, Your Honor. Megan Salisbury here on behalf of Gazelle Fuller and Jackie Frostback, the temporary guardian and conservator.
And Giselle Fuller, if you please state your name this morning.
Good morning, Gazelle Fuller here, temporary guardian.
And Jacqueline Frostback.
Jacqueline Frostback.
And Mr. Doyle.
Guardian.
Thank you. Mr. Doyle, please put your appearance on the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is Kelly Michael Doyle, 840394, here on behalf of Mr. Martin, because I've been his attorney, and there's also Selena Wilkes, and I'd like them to at least put their on the record. Could they, both of you, come forward?
So, Ms. Wilkes, if you please state your name for the record.
Selena Wilkes.
Just speak up a little.
Selena Wilkes.
Thank you, sir. Put your
Wisdom.
All right. Is Mr. Gregory Martin on the call? Mr. Martin, if so, please state your name.
Yes, this is Gregory John Martin Jr., a.k.a. Rasta K. Waleed, the son of Mr. Gregory Martin Sr. from Montana.
All right. And the matter is on the docket for a couple of issues. There's a motion to waive mediation, also a motion to extend the temporary guardianship. Mr. Doyle, what's your position regarding those requests?
Your Honor, we really need to have a short hearing. I need to be able to see my client. I've not been able to see Mr. Martin Sr. He's sort of caught in the, I don't know how to say this politely, sort of enmeshed in the VA right now, and I've been trying to see him to see how he's doing and to see what's going on. So,
is there anything that the temporary guardians are doing to restrict your access to your client?
Well, yes. I mean, no. That's why we needed to have this hearing as soon as possible. I've not been able to see my client.
So my question wasn't whether you've been able to see, it's whether the temporary guardians have done anything to restrict your access to your client.
Not to restrict my access, but not to help my access either.
I see. And what is it that you would like them to do to help you have access to your client?
Well, I think we need different temporary guardians. We need people closer here in Portland to allow friends and family, both Ms. Wilkes and Mr. Wisdom. We have
Has anyone petitioned or cross-petitioned to be appointed temporary guardian?
Not yet.
Okay, then I don't have that issue before me today, Mr. Doyle.
Not yet.
The question I have today is whether the temporary guardianship should be extended and whether I should waive mediation and set this matter for hearing.
You should set this matter for hearing,
All
Your
right.
Honor. Thank you.
All right, very good. Ms. Salisbury, is there anything else you would like to address for purposes of the record? Your request today is that the court waive mediation and set the matter for hearing, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I will do so. I will waive the mediation requirement based on the motion of the parties, and I'll set the matter for hearing today on the objection to the appointment of a temporary guardian and conservator. So what I'm going to ask you to do is take out your calendars, and I will give you some proposed dates for your hearing.
May my clients be seated, Your Honor?
Oh, yes, that would be fine. It won't take long. Now, you just referred to the people behind you as your clients. Are those your clients, or is the protected person your client, Mr. Doyle?
Yes. It's kind of a long story.
I don't need a long story. It should be a short answer. Who's your client?
Gregory Martin Sr.
All right. then those people would not be your clients.
That is correct, Your
All
Honor.
right, because that
Your
may
Honor,
put you in a position of conflict if that were the case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Salisbury, do you wish to?
Your Honor, yes, I would like to ask the court to appoint a different attorney for Mr. Martin Sr. The reason being is obviously he is referencing the people that are currently under investigation by Adult Protective Services and I believe the police for abuse to Mr. Martin Sr. are obviously sitting with his purported counsel. We also do have on the line Jessica Lawrence, who's the social worker from the VA, and I believe she could probably answer the question as to whether or not he's even attempted to see Mr. Martin. And I don't believe he's an appropriate person to be appointed. Even in his objections, he was referring to conversations with Ms. Wilkes, and again has referred to them here as clients. I think it really would just be in Mr. Martin's best interest to have an independent third party appointed as his attorney.
And Ms. Lawrence.
I agree.
And I'm sorry, who is speaking?
This is Gregory John Martin, Jr., Rasta K. Waleed, my father's true fiduciary. I agree there's been a conflict of interest with his attorney. Also, there has been the guardian and the conservator. They have been not upfront about my father's location and whereabouts. We made a trip to see my father in May the 1st. We were able to see him, and then he was hidden when we called to check on him. We're emailing everyone and also mailing letters. No one's responding, Your Honor, about my father's location. Fortunately, 2 days ago, my sister was able to visit him in, I won't say the room, because I believe that he does need to be protected against Earl Wisdom and against Mrs. Wilkes.
All right, thank you, sir. I'm not going to try the case this morning. Excuse me. I'm not trying the case this morning.
Gotcha.
This very brief question had to do with the representation of Gregory Martin. Is Jessica Lawrence on the call today?
Yes, hello.
And could you just please state your name and tell the court where it is that you work?
Jessica Lawrence. I am a licensed clinical social worker at the Portland VA.
All right, Ms. Lawrence, I'm going to ask you.
Hi, Jessica.
Excuse me, sir. If you would not speak unless you are directed to do so by the court. This is a remote hearing, and it's going to get very complicated if people are speaking out of turn. Ms. Lawrence, I'm going to ask you to take direction from my clerk.
Please raise your right hand.
Okay.
Under the penalty of perjury, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Ms. Lawrence, where do you work?
At the Portland VA.
And what's your job there?
I'm an inpatient licensed clinical social worker, meaning that I work specifically with folks in acute care.
And are you, in the course of your work, have you had contact with a patient named Gregory Martin?
Yes, I have followed Mr. Martin since the day he was admitted.
And is Mr. Martin receiving the care that he needs at this time?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
All right. And at this point, has the VA put any restrictions on who's permitted to visit with or see Gregory Martin?
We have not put any restrictions specific to the VA. We have put in restrictions to essentially keep his location unknown, and that is a safety thing that can be requested.
And have you, Mr. Doyle is appearing today representing that he is Mr. Martin's lawyer. Has Mr. Doyle been in communication with you about meeting with Gregory Martin?
At no time have I had any contact with Mr. Doyle.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Lawrence, for responding to my questions this morning. Ms. Salisbury, unfortunately, this is a very complicated situation as far as your request for the court to appoint an attorney without having Mr. Martin, getting his perspective directly regarding the representation of him by Mr. Doyle. Certainly I have concerns. Mr. Doyle's reference to Ms. Wilkes, for example, as his client is concerning. He should be clear about who is his client, and to the extent he's confused, I have concerns with his ability to represent the protected person. So, Mr. Doyle, I'm going to invite you to think carefully about whether this is a case that you're going to be able to handle, or if it would be better handled by a different attorney. You've indicated that you've been involved for a long time. Unfortunately, that may have gotten you into a position where you may have some challenges as far as representing Gregory Martin. To the extent a motion were filed, a hearing certainly could be scheduled regarding Mr. Martin's representation, but that's not before me this morning. What I'm going to do is set this matter for hearing within the next 30 days, and I'm going to grant the request to extend the temporary guardian and conservatorship until the hearing can occur. So give me a moment, and I will give you a date for your hearing.
July 18th or July 19th?
All right. Ms. Salisbury, are you available for trial assignment July 18th, for trial on July 19th?
Yes, Your Honor. Let me double check. I want to make sure. I have a hearing. That's right. Jackie is Miss Fuller is actually sorry, not Fuller. Fosbeck is actually out of the country during some of those dates, and I have a hearing in Washington County on the 19th.
So when Ms. Fuller, do you leave the country?
I leave the afternoon of the 19th to head to northern Washington, and we'll cross into Canada the morning of the 20th.
All right. So give me a moment. We'll get you a date prior to the 19th for your hearing. Hold on.
The 15th or the 16th of July?
All right.
Thank you.
And before we have the hearing, I would like to know where Mr. Martin is, so at least I can talk to Mr. Martin Sr. and visit with him, since they know where he is and I don't.
You need to sit down.
Thank you.
Yep, we are not addressing that right now. I am looking for people's availability for trial. I have a hearing that's already scheduled to commence at 9 a.m. and I have a number of other matters to address this morning. Are the parties available? Ms. Salisbury, are you and your clients available July 15th for hearing July 16th?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Fuller, Ms. Fosbach, are you available for hearing on the 16th?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Doyle, does that work?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Available.
Very good. We will schedule this matter for hearing. Trial assignment will occur on July 15th remotely, for hearing in person on the 16th. Ms. Salisbury, I'll just direct that you confer with Ms. Lawrence to establish ability for Mr. Doyle to communicate with his client. My hope would be, if there's some concerns about his safety or somebody eloping with him, that there be some arrangement perhaps at the VA in a secure location for a meeting to occur. And if not, if the VA doesn't believe that that is able to accommodate that, then at least phone communication would certainly be the court's expectation. And to the extent there's any motions filed regarding Mr. Doyle's representation of Mr. Martin, that will certainly be evaluated in due course. So the parties on the Martin matter are all excused. Take care.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The next matter is the matter of Ivory Broom. The